Okay, we're going to look at multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting fractions. So, whenever you add fractions, you must find a common denominator. You then add the numerators and then simplify. Adding is probably the simplest. So let's look at an example. 3/5 plus 5/6. So how we're going to find a common denominator is on this side multiply everything by 5, and on this side multiply everything by 6, which would be 6 over 6, 5 over 5 technically. So then that's going to give us 18/30 plus 25/30. These are going to add together to give us 43/30, and that does not simplify, so that is going to be our answer. You could change this into a mixed number, which would be 1 and 13/30, but that's not necessary for most math classes. Okay, so whenever we subtract fractions, we're again going to do the exact same thing that we did to add, except we're going to subtract the numerators. Okay? So 3/2 minus 5/7. So to do this, we're just going to multiply this side by 2 over 2 and this side by 7 over 7. So then that's going to give us 21/14 minus 10/14. Okay? And that's going to give us 11/14. And again, this does not simplify, so that would be our final answer. And this does not change to a mixed fraction either, or a mixed number. Okay, now multiplying fractions. So before you multiply, you should always try to cancel diagonally if possible. This will save you a lot of work in the end, because if you don't cancel before, you might end up with big numbers that cancel, but you don't end up canceling them. So this just makes it a lot easier. And you multiply directly across, and then you simplify just like all the others. So then let's take a look at one that does not cancel. So 3/2 times 4/5. So we're just going to multiply across, which is going to give us 12/10, and then that simplifies to 6/5, and that would be our answer unless you want to make it a mixed number, and that would be 1 and 1/5. Okay, let's look at one that does cancel. So you can see here the 2's cancel to give us 1. So that's going to be the same as 7 over 1 times 1 over 5. And that's going to give us 7 over 5, and that's not going to reduce, so that'll be our answer. Just to show you, 7/2 times 2/5. If we did this just multiplying across, that would give us 14/10, which equals 7/5, which is what we got over here. So that's just to prove that that will work. Okay, so dividing. Most of the time you'll have a number over a number over a number over a number. Okay? So to get it out of this, what you can do, let's just do this just to make it. So you can take the reciprocal of the bottom and multiply it by the top. So you can do, so these two things mean the same thing, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. So then after you do this, you just multiply. So you can cancel diagonally again, and then you just multiply across, and then you simplify like all the others if it simplifies. Okay, so this, to make it look nicer, we're just going to do 6/5 times the reciprocal, which would be 6/7, and multiply across, which would be 36/35. And this does not simplify, but this would, in a mixed number, would be 1 and 1/35. Okay? Now you have to make sure you don't look at this and say, oh, the 6 is on the top and on the bottom, so that just cancels. No, that does not work. Don't do that. Okay? You will not get the right answer if you do that. Okay, this is another way that you can see these. It means the exact same thing. But this is going to be 9 halves times 3 ninths. So then the 9's will cancel to give us 1. So that's going to equal 1 half times 3 over 1, which is 3. And that's going to equal 3 halves, which that's our answer unless you want a mixed number, which that'll be 1 and 1 half. Okay. And that is how you add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions. They look really complicated, but really they're very simple.